Look at Black, he can't do much, no mana, the free hit is not there. Lian makes it away with a slash and dice combo, can start it off.
Here it's going to be Antares, the victim of a gank here, but gets the first blood with all the unleashed powers. Fear.
Trying to disrupt things in. Whoa, look at the damage!
Oh my lord, what was that? A triple kill! This is a quadra! Hello is very low!
Maligayang pagbabalik, ladies and gents, sa Garena Local Collegiate League, powered by Lenovo, challenge what you know. Pero bago tayo pumasok sa game, papakilala ko muna kami. Syempre, ako si Arctic at kasama ko ngayon si Kaizen. And what an interesting game, one that we had earlier. Pero the action still goes on. We still have a lot more games to go as we head into Game 2 between UB versus our peeps from Urdaneta. So this is going to be a very, very good game ahead here. I actually have pretty high expectations.
The games we had yesterday were really amazing, and I'm just so excited to see what more the other regions can offer us. Like knowing that it's the new patch and all, and I love to see some new plays, some things that players have never done before.
Right.
It's just really exciting to see.
But looking at our schedule here, of course, as reflected, currently is UB versus UCNHS, and later on we'll be heading into a game between UC versus PSHS. So most of our games for today are going to be towards the North Luzon Conference, you know, and yeah, just so that we could see what the gist of everything is going up towards the north, kasi a lot of games today basically. So at least we're gonna be bringing them to you live right here dito sa ating stream ngayon. Of course, wherever you're watching, whether it be Facebook Live or gaming.youtube.com/live or phgarena/live. There you go. So, but nonetheless, Kaizen, looks like we'll be heading into the pick and ban phase for University of Baguio versus Urdaneta City National High School. Looking at the bans though, to give you guys a bit of a prequel as to why we're seeing two missed out bans from University of Baguio. Nag-field kasi sila ng mga subs nila. And if you guys recall, sa mga past games natin, nagkaroon tayo ng mga ganitong instance na na-field yung subs. And kasi mga subs nila, they're only allowed to be declared to up to 2 roles. So if they're playing a role that they weren't registered to the penalty is they'll be losing out a ban. Pero for the case of University of Baguio, dahil dalawang player nila ang hindi nilalaro yung registered role nila, they had to miss out on 2 bans as for their penalty. Pero let's go ahead and check out what picks we have so far, or quick review of the bans. Kha'Zix para sa University of Baguio, tapos para naman dito sa Urdaneta City National High School, we have the Zac, the Vel'Koz, as well as the Twitch.
Yeah, Vel'Koz here deals a lot of damage. I haven't seen it a lot though, but I know he wasn't really affected that much with the current patches, and so he'll be able to deal a lot of that. He's zoning out a lot of these zones, especially with his Rift, with his ult, his Q. It's just a really good pick, a really good ban here for Urdaneta.
But let's go ahead and just review the quick second rotation of bans here before we go straight into the picks. LeBlanc, Varus, Lee Sin, and Syndra. So a little bit of diversity in the bans that we're seeing here. But yeah, looks like the picks are going to be thrown in right away.
They already know what they want to play.
They know what they want in life. Pero yeah, quick review of the champions that we have here. Wow, it looks like we'll be seeing a Pantheon in the jungle. That's something I haven't seen
in a while.
Yeah. I don't know. In my case, I don't think I've ever casted a game wherein I've seen a jungle Pantheon. I don't know if in other regions they might have used it. Maybe there is, but personally from what games I've managed to catch, whether locally or internationally, I don't know about you. Have you, Kat?
I've only seen Pantheon top, obviously. It's usually shown in the top lane, but I know that Pantheon top, when he does get ahead, it's super scary. It's like a Kha'Zix, but he has more defensive stats because of his passive is the hidden OP. It just blocks the first instance of attack, and his skills do deal a lot of damage. It's actually scary.
So there you have it, guys. Meanwhile, for the side of Urdaneta City National High School, we'll be checking out, we'll be reviewing their picks in a little bit later, once we head into the game. But yeah, so far that was definitely really quite the surprise. Yeah, very quick, and still that Pantheon jungle is definitely something. I mean, I was about to bring up the Twisted Fate because you don't really see as Twisted Fate as much, but you do see him every now and then in competitive.
In pub games.
Yeah, there you go. But Pantheon Jungle, I mean, we'll just have to see. Then again, with this preseason, gaya nga ng pinag-uusapan natin kahapon, ito yung moment kasi na wala pang solid meta. Kaya it's fun to experiment and try to see what you could potentially make work. And maybe, just maybe, na-practice ng University of Baguio. Kaya field nila tong Pantheon Jungle. Pero tingnan natin kung gagana siya later on once we head into the game.
Yeah, it seems like they were comfortable anyway with their picks, and it's really good that they're trying out new things to try with the champions, try these new runes out, and hopefully it works out for them.
Indeed. But of course, we'll just have to find out later. Pero kayo guys, sa mga nanonood ngayon, whether sa Facebook Live or sa YouTube stream natin, sino tingin yung mas lamang based sa kung ano yung draft nila? University of Baguio ba or Urdaneta City National High School? Let us know your thoughts. Of course, we're always tuned in right now to see what our summoners have to say on the stream, whether positive, negative, constructive, destructive. But yeah. But looking at our matchup right now, it's interesting kasi for the North Luzon Conference, we've been it's pretty much established that as far as conferences across the board, ang madalas i-anticipate, ang madalas may high expectations is yung mga nasa Metro East, yung mga nasa Metro West, yung mga Metro Manila teams natin. Pero kung titingnan nyo yung ibang conferences natin, like North Luzon, South Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, you kind of see players that really have the potential, not only just in the collegiate scene, pero potentially for those that could go pro din. So, I don't know about you, man, but especially for North Luzon, as of the conference that I've been seeing lately, ang dami ko nakitang players na, you know, yung may potential na with proper coaching, with proper management, could potentially take their career to the next level kung gustuin nila.
I just really like also that these other regions are like picking these rather sub-meta heroes. Like, if I remember correctly, I remember Acclaim and Fire X picking support Vel'Koz. Initially I thought, how is he gonna deal with the CC? Well, he does have a knockup, but then when they played it, it was so good. It's just the mechanical skills they showed up in the support role, although it was like not really optimal.
Yeah,
they really showed up,
and I think it all comes down to how I'm personally all for an orthodox pick, especially if you could be creative enough to. I mean, because some people, they like to try to make picks work even though they're not, let's say, mastery support. I mean, come on, that doesn't make sense. But there's other champions that at first glance, yung tingin mo, wait a minute, is this gonna work? Pero once you actually see it in execution and how it works with the team composition, parang dun mo na-realize na, yung pala yun. And Acclaim Empire X, like you mentioned, one of the pro teams right now coming from Visayas has been demonstrating these interesting picks na might not look good on paper initially, but once you see it in action, boom.
It's really good. Really good synergy between them too. So yeah, it's really good picks out coming up. What do you think about that Fiora top though?
Wow, for Fiora top, I mean, I think Fiora, well, she has reserved. She did get hit by the Nerf hammer a few patches back, but they did revert. I wouldn't say revert, but they did help her kit a bit when they realized they hit her too hard with that hammer. So, you know, just kind of patch her up a bit. Looks like we'll be heading into the game once again, ladies and gents. This is game 2 for today's stream here at the Garena Local Collegiate League between University of Baguio versus Urdaneta City National High School. Let's head into the action. Baka na.
I have to ask you though, Arctic, whose comp do you think has a slight advantage here?
Well, let's go ahead and look at things, because it's without a doubt that what's interesting is for UCNHS, I recall in the previous patch wherein when you think of a Vayne, you think of how much of a beast she is as so much when she transitions into later parts of the game. Yeah. Pero for the meantime, when it comes to the recent preseason, I feel like, well, basically not just Vayne, but champions in general which pack the punch, which deal damage, they're a bit more painful now, not only because of the damage you can get from the new runes, but at the same time because of the vulnerability of certain champions wherein they don't really benefit from the flat stats anymore. So I think you could look at it from the perspective na from a season past, that's how it goes down. But with the new rules, I feel like it brings in a whole new flavor, and it's kind of trickier to determine who you think might have a late game advantage because of the new rune setup. Suddenly has a little bit, not necessarily an advantage, but isn't as weak or doesn't have as weak of an early laning phase, let's say, for example, wherein in the previous patch, mas hirap sila sa early phase. So, yeah, let's just go and see how it goes.
One thing I do know is the Vayne is going to be super annoying because this is Vayne's really good against tanks because she doesn't really mind the defenses of a tank, but her silver bolts deal percent damage. It doesn't mind the defenses. That's why it's been super annoying. Me, when I do scrims or pub games, I always ban Vayne.
Ooh,
just because of that reason. Her silver bolts.
And especially once with the later parts of the game, lalo pag may decent protection siya.
Yeah.
Yung nakakapag-create lang siya, tumble here and there, man, really becomes a pain in the hiney. But, yeah. Looking at things right now, they're towards bot lane. It looks like Azure definitely having a better time versus Crow and Zephyrus here. Medyo napupush out na nila tong lane ng University of Baguio, forcing them almost near turret. But here naman, going to the mid lane, Soul and mid Bowsy is kind of trading off. Just a little bit of a calm trade that's happening here.
Mid Bowsy has been really comfortable on his Orianna, as seen yesterday. He picked it also, and although they lost that game, I think, to PSHS,
right,
he's still going back to that comfort he has, and running Cleanse on that, I think that's really good against a Twisted Fate. That could help you a lot in the laning phase, especially since his Twisted Fate's only CC is that gold card. So that could really deny like a potential gank coming in from Ochiworm if he ever decides to walk up.
And not just him, but also for let's go ahead and look at University of Baguio. Like we mentioned, Pantheon jungle isn't normally something we see, but let's go ahead and try to rationalize what the advantages and disadvantages are of having a Pantheon in the jungle. Well, I think I've tried him personally, but more because that was during the time when I don't really play jungle. So I'm just kind of forced to play what I know in other lanes and try to make it work in the jungle. So for Pantheon, I guess one of the positives that you do have when you're using him in the jungle is his passive. Yeah. Does kind of allow him to take a little bit of the damage coming in from the bigger monsters like blue buff, red buff, and so on. One thing that is interesting though is
JT here. Ochiworm is a little bit far. He's not going to get the knockup. It was way too far. They're not going to be able to finish Brian here. He doesn't have to burn any of his summons.
There you go. Looks like everything is safe and sound for Brian here. We'll be making a recall for the meantime. But yeah, going back to the point about Pantheon. His clear is okay. I mean, I think if there's one thing about Pantheon, he struggles within the earlier phases, and he does eventually start to get hungry on mana in the later parts, especially if you don't have that blue buff to help you. So it kind of goes 50-50 for me. He's kind of a toned down Nocturne in a way, in the sense that he has his own form of a single target CC, although it's much more instantaneous, but if I'm not mistaken, does need a little bit more of range in order to connect it. And then at the same time, in terms of the ultimate, it takes a little bit more time in comparison to a Nocturnal. You do have that semi-global presence in a way, but it is a little bit more slower. So, and it doesn't have that disorienting effect that Nocturne has, wherein it's just pretty much the darkness. But let's go ahead and see how it works for you.
JT though is in a lot of trouble. He's tussling up with Brian, but he is gonna burn his flash and taking his pots there. He lost that trade.
Oof.
Although going back to your point, I think the only synergy I see here with the Pantheon is if he does go in using with the Shield of Zenonia, his stun, the only thing he can go with is if mid-bow gives him the ball, uses Shockwave, or if Zephyrus gives him the Wild Growth so he can knock up anyone. So I think, in a way, that's really good synergy.
Right. I think, although with that synergy, parang andun yung disadvantage na ang laki ng reliance ng University ng Baguio just with synergy in general. Kasi kung titingnan mo yung composition ng UNCHS, at least yung Camille, Hextech Ultimatum, Jarvan with the Cataclysm.
Yeah.
Ito yung mga champions, even Rakan with his own ult. Ito yung mga champion na hindi nila kailangan ng solid synergy ng iba. Yung sila mismo, kaya nilang mag-initiate na walang further abilities na para magkapagkaroon ng decent set. Unlike itong si Maverick tsaka si Brian, let's say, to an extent, pag sila naman yung frontline, kailangan nila ng shockwave ni Oriana, ng ultimate ni Lulu para may chain ng CC. Pero kumbaga, at least si Ochiworm, at least si JT, sila yung mga standalone na may abilities na kahit sila mismo without the follow-up ability right away ng kakampi nila, maging okay pa rin sila.
To add on that point, I noticed that Camille has her lockdown, her ultimatum, and Jarvan has his Cataclysm, and that's going to be a big problem for University of Baguio in terms of Crow having to get out of that. He has nothing to go over those walls, so he will have to burn his flash, although ultimatum will lock him down. So he really has to rely on Zephyrus's wild growth to save him from that. O'Brien there, he's gonna get ganked by Ochiworm and JT. He's gonna use his ultimatum. Cataclysm is gonna be used, but it's not gonna help him out. First blood going over to JT.
That was a bit of an overkill. But it's
Maverick though, he is gonna stun him. Is he gonna be able to finish JT off? He's in a lot of trouble. He's gonna get stunned up. He does take down JT, but he does trade his life for it. A return kill, but was it worth?
Was it worth indeed? Ending in a 2-for-1 in favor of UCNHS. Looks like it's starting to
Wild growth gonna knock him up. Also, Zephyrus is in a lot of trouble though. He does still go down to Azure. He's still gonna look for Crow here. Crow still running away, but he does die to Azure here. A double kill already for Azure.
Man, just when I thought that things are going to be calm at least until past 10 minutes. No. Yeah. Pre-10 minutes, there's the action right there. But overall, Urdaneta City National High School definitely coming up a little bit better there. It's 1-for-4. So across the board, and that does propel them into a more than 2,000 gold diff in favor of them, so definitely a good start for them.
As soon as they got their ultimates, everyone just started wanting to killing their lane opponents there. And that's really good. In terms of, they wanted to push their lead as soon as possible. They know how the game plays, but Maverick is going to use a stun over here. The shockwave is not going to go off. Soul here is gonna burn his flash for it. Ochiworm though is walking up to mid lane. He's gonna get the knock up to mid bow. He's gonna use his cleanse flash. He burns both his summers. Is he gonna live through it? Ochiworm is gonna get stunned up. Maverick does take him down. Over here in the top lane though, Brian, not anything serious. Mid bow there got to survive that gank.
Good response there for Maverick in the nick of time.
Maverick though, he is going to use his ult to get JT. JT going down to Maverick. Really good ultimate there coming up from Maverick.
Nice use of the passive there as well. Was able to tank a bit more of that tower damage. One hit, in fact. And I think that definitely made all the difference. He would have survived regardless, in my opinion, but still, it's a good precaution to at least have that extra health in case may biglang ibang responding element. But yeah, that was a good response coming in from Maverick. Just in the nick of time, was able to get that stun onto Ochiworm while he was under turret. So he took a lot of turret damage, and that was his downfall right there.
Urdaneta are in the lead, but I'm really glad that University of Baguio here is still looking for advantages, looking for opportunities that they can take to also push their lead to go against Urdaneta here.
I think that's something that University of Baguio should take advantage of. In the 5v5, I'm not really sure how they'll fare. Just because they don't really have the solid CC.
Zephyrus, though, he is going to use his wild growth to knock up 2. Crow here is going to use his ultimate to try to save his support, but it doesn't work. Kyle here is going to go down here. Ochiworm is also going down. Azure is trying to run away, trying to kite mid-bow, but mid-bow does take him down. Maverick also paid with his life.
2 for 3 in favor of University of Baguio. That was awkward coming in from Urdaneta City National High School.
Yeah, it was a fight over a ward at Tribrush.
And if anything, I think it's pretty textbook na kapag may misfortune kang kalaban, the last thing you want to do is group up to allow her to ult you guys into oblivion. And I think that's what happened right here. If you notice, gets 3 members of UCNHS. Luckily, was cancelled out by Kyle, but still it didn't necessarily prevent UCNHS from getting pretty much wiped out in this clash. And great response coming in from Mid Bowsy in the nick of time. Was able to secure that kill. Could it have been better for University of Baguio? Definitely. But still, ooh.
Oh, he dodged the stun there with the invulnerability time of ultimatum. That's a really good play there, denying the gank, and JT is going to be able to get away without burning his flash.
Definitely a great play right there. Still, we have an even out scoreboard right now, but then again, what's interesting is
He is gonna use his ult. He's gonna try to rinse and repeat with JT here, but JT just chains up away. Still another failed gank coming from Maverick.
that does force JT to take the long way back to his turret. I'm not sure he'll be able to save it in the nick of time, as looks like first turret will be going to University of Baguio.
So he tried to gank again, used his ult to move JT out of the turret, and at least that ensures first turret, which is a lot of gold already in Brian's pocket. So that's a really good play there. Red team do get the Cloud Drake.
A little bit of a small trade-off right there. Turret for Dragon. But then again, you do get that extra benefit of a first turret as opposed to just any turret after that. So I'd still say University of Baguio definitely got a little bit more value out of that. But yeah, that's what I like about University of Baguio right here. In the full 5v5s, it's something that not really sure of in terms of how they'll fare against Urdaneta City National High School's comp, only because mas marami silang CC, they have a lot more initiation tools, they have it's just generally well-rounded in my opinion if you're going to compare it to UB's composition. But then again, it doesn't necessarily mean out of the running tong University of Baguio. It just means that they need to take advantage of their other strengths, and I think yung nakikita natin kay Maverick, that's one of them. From these 1v1s, is able to go for these surprise ultimates into lanes to easily turn it into 2v1. So I think that's something that University of Baguio should take advantage of, but looks like
JT, though, he's going to get teleported up by Sol, and Ochiworm are already here to take him down. Brian goes down to JT. Really good gank there.
Ooh. Destiny coming in from Twisted Fate. Actually, I almost forgot that Twisted Fate was in this game right here. And I think this is actually good because at least with this Twisted Fate, they're going to be able to match Maverick's own responsiveness through both ultimates from these two champions respectively. So I think that's a bit of a tricky part. If anything, Maverick wants to try to take advantage of whenever Twisted Fate's ultimate is down as much as possible, whenever he wants to try to get pickoffs from the side of UNCHS.
Things, though, have calmed down right after that gank. Everyone doesn't want to really go a little bit aggressive here, but I think this is Maverick's time to look for a gank. Since Sol's Destiny is down, he won't have to worry about Twisted Fate suddenly coming into the fight and turning things around.
Ooh. So, though, things are pretty much even here. Looking at the itemization, though, looks like Yoma's Ghostblade has already been completed by Crow. Meanwhile, Azure opting to complete Berserker's Greaves first.
He is going to get charmed up, though. Crow, he burned his heal there. He is going to use his ult to hopefully deal a lot of damage, but Maverick is here to save the day. They are going to take down Azure. Now all that's left is Kyle. He is trying to get away there. Are they going to be able to get him? No, he isn't. Maverick with a double kill, but over in the mid lane, Mid Baozai lost his life to Soul there.
1 for 2 across lanes. I'd definitely say that is still in favor of University of Baguio, though. And I kind of like how Maverick's definitely on top of things here. Ang kinaganda ng ultimate niya is that Brian doesn't really need to respond as much to whenever action is happening through other lane. At least, nakapag-focus siya na if ever he needs to get back to top lane, like needs to teleport back, yun, at least yun yung maganda doon. Kaya hindi siya masyadong nabibehind. Even though in terms of KDA, mas okay pa rin yung standing ni JT kaysa sa kanya with that kill of a difference, 1-2-1 versus a 2-2-1. So, yeah, I think this is great proactiveness coming in from Maverick. What I kind of worry about, though, is how long this proactivity will work for him, because I think in the later parts of the game, that's where things get much more tricky for University of Baguio.
Yeah, that's a really good point there. As soon as his ultimate is off cooldown, he immediately uses it and tries to look for a gank. Top lane, mid lane, or bot. But Ochiworm and JT here are gonna look to get the Rift Herald, hopefully to help him take down a turret.
Looks like itong Rift Herald will be taken uncontested by Urdaneta City National High School will be given to JT. So let's go ahead and see.
And Maverick. Brian is also here to help out. Are they going to be able to get JT? Does he have ultimate to lock him down? Yes, he does. He is going to get stunned up, and Brian takes down JT.
Yeah, so that's the tricky part right there. Ochiworm and JT were separated. They took separate paths and didn't quite work for them in the end, as JT was able to get collapsed on by both Maverick and Vibe. Meanwhile, this will allow Azir and Kyle trying to take down this turret.
Is he going to fight this? Are they going to be able to take this out? He does get charmed. Zephyrus is in a lot of trouble. He does lose his life. Azur takes him down. Crow now doesn't have a support to try to save him. He gets condemned into the tower in the wall. Now he has to use his ultimate. He's not going to be able to finish him off. And he does die to Kyle there. Brian, though, he's trying to respond here. They're all going to get Destinied up. Where is Twisted Fate going to end up? He is there. He's going to teleport in. He is going to stun Brian, trying to finish him off. Brian and Maverick have to be safe here. He is going to get condemned into the wall. He's being separated from Brian. He's all alone, and a shutdown from Soul there.
Yeah, so that was pretty chaotic, but in the end, UCNHS definitely coming up a little bit better there. And not only were they up in kills, they'll also be taking a turret as an additional bonus.
Yeah, that's pushing them to a 3,000 gold lead already. I hope University of Baguio have to do something to at least stop this from snowballing, because this would be a really big problem if they do.
Especially, this is a phase in the game wherein Crow needs all the protection that he can get coming in from the rest of University of Baguio, because if left alone, it's a no-brainer. Vayne is just going to demolish him without any additional protection coming in from University of Baguio. If anything, he'll really need to rely on mid-Balzi as well as Zephyrus to grant him the initial shields, as well as whatever CC they can put onto the rest of UCNHS whenever they try to go for the kill onto Crow.
Yeah, that's a really good point there, because I saw that they went for Zephyrus first because they know that Crow would be a way easier target if Zephyrus was out of the picture. He'd have to use Wild Growth on himself, hopefully, to stop the advance, but they were able to take both their lives there.
10 and 12 right now on the scoreboard, slowly building towards Urdaneta City National High School. And I think that's the tricky part right here. Kung tingnan mo yung composition nila, as this game goes along, they have much more of a better advantage, in my opinion, in comparison to University of Baguio, just because...
Brian, though, he is gonna die. No, JT dies to Brian's hands there. A really good gang coming up from mid-bow, using his shockwave to stop JT in his tracks.
Oh man, you see NHS. I feel like they're pretty much past the phase wherein they... I feel like they shouldn't be separating as much, especially JT. Like I mentioned, if there's one advantage that I like as far as UCNHS, they have a much more potent team fight, in my opinion, in comparison to University of Baguio. Just because they have a lot of elements to work with, wherein there's pretty much almost Azur is virtually untouchable if they play this composition correctly in team fight, because they have a Cataclysm, they have Hextech Ultimatum, so many elements that they could work with in order to make sure that none of these players from University of Baguio can get onto Azir.
Vayne is really getting fed here, and in late game she will be unstoppable, because that tumble is a really big problem. They won't be able to catch her. The only lockdown they have is that shockwave or that wild growth knockup, and if they don't take down Azur there, that's just the team fight going in favor for Urdaneta.
Exactly. And in order for them to win team fights, University of Baguio, parang napakaliit ng window of opportunity nila para to basically get the Vayne. It's either they collapse onto Azir right away, or if it's a much more prolonged team fight, when that's where things get much more trickier for them, especially if we're going to send their elements like the Oriana, like the Misfortune. Once their ultimates are down, even the Lulu, then they lose out on a lot of ammo, and that's where UCNHS could just pretty much retaliate. But with that considered, not even just retaliation, UCNHS, they have the potential to engage on University of Baguio themselves. If anything, si University of Baguio pa mismo ang medyo alanganin sa initiate.
Mid-bow just got one shot there. He didn't have vision of that rush, and now he lost his life. Wild growth up. Maverick is going low health. He's going to use his ultimate there. Crow is going to go down. Zephyrus is in a lot of trouble also. He does lose his life to Soul there. That's a really bad play there coming up from University of Baguio.
great move coming in from Urdaneta City National High School. This is what I'm talking about. Ito yung advantage na meron yung composition nila. As long as they're complete, they have all the potential in the world to just collapse on University of Baguio. And not only the numbers game, but
Maverick, he got his recall cancelled. Now Ochiworm is going to take him down. A very easy kill there coming off from Ochiworm.
4 members are down. Brian won't be opting to go for the defense. Will instead push out the inner top turret. Not that he would have been able to defend anyway, but looks like University of Baguio.
Midbow there getting a shockwave on both of them. They are going to take down Kyle. Azur's in a lot of trouble though, but he does go down with Midbow there, taking him with his life. Soul is going to gold card up. Crow is just free hitting. They're not going to mind him. Zephyrus is going to lose his life. A double kill coming up for Soul, but Soul is in a lot of trouble. There's no one around him anymore. He's going to use his gold card to stun him up, but Brian is chasing him down. But Ochiworm was already there. He's going to use his Cataclysm to hope and try to stop, but his mid lane is already dead. Soul coming down. 4 dead on the side of Urdaneta.
Great riposte coming in there from Brian. If ever he got knocked up, he potentially would not have been able to get that kill onto Soul. But that's the least of the problems that happened there. Urdaneta City National High School, sure, they have a great lead. They were able to push in an inhibitor turret, but take note, it's still very early in the game, so those death timers aren't as heavy yet. Let's go ahead and check out what happened in the replay. So basically, what happened here is that I feel that Urdaneta City National High School, masyado nilang in-overstaying welcome nila. And again, like I mentioned, the death timers on UB, they're not as heavy yet. So, madali silang nakapag-respond na ganun. They were able to save their inhibitor. And I think UCNHS, ito yung parang typical solo na sinasabi na paisa-isa kayo ng pasok. And that's kind of what happened here. I mean, they already lost on a lot of members, so they tried to push the envelope a little bit too much. So, yeah, ultimately, they overstayed a bit. Whether or not it sets them back, not as much. They still have a little bit of a lead, but
Clash is going to come up. Zephyrus is going to use Wild Growth on himself. They are going to be able to take down Kyle there. That's a support helping them out. They're not going to be able to engage on them. No knock-up coming up from Rakan.
Man, oh man, Kyle taking the full brute of that damage coming in from University of Baguio. And that's one of the disadvantages of Urdaneta City National High School here. If anything, they really don't want to get caught out by UB here because what they lack in as far as going for...
JT, though, looking to engage on Zephyrus again, and Zephyrus does lose his life to Soul this time.
Man, oh man. But yeah, as I was saying, what University of Baguio lacks in terms of heavy teamfight potential, as far as locking down targets, as far as just lasting better than UCNHS, they make up for in being able to pick off single targets so fast, especially if they just need to focus one target. And I think that's what happened right there. Kyle just getting the full brute, gets stunned by Pantheon. It's just focused by everybody, but oh no, pretty gutsy.
They're gonna be able to take down Midbow before anything knows what's happening. A double kill already for Azur. This is what you've been talking about already. Triple kill for Crow. This Vayne is popping off. They do get the Baron. University of Baguio are in a lot of trouble. Brian is all alone. He does shut down Soul here, but he only has Zephyrus by his side.
Pasensya na po, Hoya. Denied ka muna ng pentakill. But still, that does not prevent Urdaneta City National High School from taking the Baron. And this is going to be big for them. If anything, they have all the more control, all the more pressure to exert on University of Baguio. And considering the comp that University of Baguio has, this is not something that they want. Because if they're forced to have to contend with dealing with UCNHS pushing across separate sides of the map, that's where they'll be at a heavy disadvantage. And a disadvantage for them, but all the more of an advantage for UNCHS.
It was really good that Midbow tried to stop their Baron there, but Azur just did too much damage. He did not expect Azur to just pop him. And he just lost his life along with Crow. And now Urdaneta here have the Baron buff, and with an inhibitor tower down, this could be a problem for University of Baguio.
Oh man, this Vayne is just gonna be an absolute beast now. 3 items completed. Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon, as well as Static Chev with a Berserker Scrapes to boot. That is gonna be so painful, man. And I think it's pretty much telling right now. 7, 3, and 6, plus the great synergy that we're seeing between the rest of the members, able to peel off for this Vayne. So definitely great plays that we're seeing here from UCNHS.
JT is gonna his recall there. He was about to get ganked if ever he was chose to stay there in the lane. But Ochiworm, Azur, and Kyle are posing up to this top tour. The only outer tour left for University of Baguio here. Now Zephyrus just almost half his health from one shot of Azur there. That's gonna be really big problem if he tries to contest this. They are Baron buffed up.
Oh man, meanwhile, take note, JT is pushing out towards the bot lane, and this is what I've been talking about here as far as what pressure University of Baguio needs to deal with. If ever UCNHS decides to go for these splits towards across lanes, then oh no.
Gonna get stunned up here. Soul's might lose his life. Is Maverick able to finish him off? He blocks the gold card. Really good passive there. He's gonna use Destiny, hopefully to try. He's gonna Zhonya's up. Is he gonna teleport to anywhere else? No. But the Vayne there is already here. He already took down mid Baozai and Crow. Now Brian has just lost his life to a Vayne. He's still full health. Zephyrus in a lot of trouble. Triple kill again for Azur.
Wow, that was absolutely insane. That will be the ace onto University of Baguio. And ladies and gentlemen, this will be the game, man. Oh man. Once things got going for Garena City National High School, they just really picked up the speed, went into full throttle, and looks like we have our winner for Game 2. Once again, congratulations, UNCHS taking it against University of Baguio.
Really big problem there. They weren't able to deal with the Vayne there. They didn't really have a really big lockdown besides that Pantheon stun, and that's it. If they aren't able to take down the Vayne, it'll just slide. They will completely lose the team fight.
Indeed, and overall, I mean, again, I can't really peg it on University of Baguio playing it badly. I think they were just ultimately outdrafted by Garena City National High School, in my opinion. There was a lot of things that really didn't quite work for them if you're going to compare both compositions. And yeah, Garena City National High School, I still got to commend them. They definitely played up wonderfully. University of Baguio as well. I wouldn't say it was a bad game. It was just that they didn't have as many advantages to work with in comparison to Garena City National High School. And with, at least with UCNHS, they have so much to work with. With University of Baguio kasi, they have a narrower window of opportunity, like I mentioned. It's either they make it or break it in that one combo that they need to execute, or if they don't execute that, if they're not able to get Azir right away, then things just crumble from there.
A lot of these fights though, was University of Baguio getting picked off and they were all separated from each other. There wasn't really a fight where all 5 members of University of Baguio were there to help out their allies or like to really deal enough damage against Urdaneta here.
Indeed. But I guess that's Game 2 for the meantime, guys. Once again, congratulations to Garena City National High School for winning Game 2. But when we come back, like I mentioned, we still have a lot of games more. Pero magki-quick break muna kami, ladies and gents. Kami ang naging casters nyo for this game. Ako si Arctic at your service fam. With me is Kaizen. This is the Garena Law Collegiate League 2017 Summer Term North Luzon Conference powered by Lenovo. Challenge what you know. Snack muna kayo, guys. Our break. We'll be right back.
Is going to use his Wild Growth to knock up 2. Crow here is going to use his ultimate to try to save his support, but it doesn't work. Kyle here is going to go down here. Ochiworm is also going down. Azur is trying to run away, trying to kite mid-bow, but mid-bow does take... Going low health, he's going to use his ultimate there. Crow is going to go down. Zephyrus is in a lot of trouble also. He does lose his life. Just free hitting. They're not going to mind him. Zephyrus is going to lose his life. A double kill coming up for Soul, but Soul is in a lot of trouble. There's no one around him anymore. He's going to use his gold cards to stun him up, but Brian is chasing him down. But Ochiworm was already there. He's going to use his Cataclysm to hope and try to stop, but his mid lane is already dead. So they're going to be able to take down mid-bow before anything knows what has happening. A double kill already for Azur. This is what you've been talking about already. Triple kill for Crow. This Vayne is popping off. Hopefully to try. He's going to Zhonya's up. Is he going to teleport to anywhere else? No. But the Vayne there is already here. He already took down mid-Baozai and Crow. Now Brian has just lost his life to a Vayne. He's still full health. Zephyrus in a lot of trouble. Triple kill again for Azur.
Wow, that was absolutely insane. That will be the ace onto University of Baguio. And ladies and gentlemen, this will be the game, man. Oh man. Once things got going for Garena City National High School, they just really picked up the speed, went into full throttle, and looks like we have our winner for Game 2. Once again, congratulations, UNCHS taking it against University of Baguio.
Really?
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.